You're on?
Yep. Okay, so I'll call the June 27th Inland Wetland meeting to order. Let's start with introductions. I am Pat Parafort. I never know what to call myself. Chairperson. Let's start on the computer. Pat.
Pat Sell, Commissioner Alternate.
Greg Johnston, Vice Chair.
Kevin Seaman, Commissioner.
Dave McCollum, Inland Wetlands Agent.
Mary Churchill, Recording Secretary.
Okay. Good. So let's see. First order of business. Meeting order. We have no public hearings, no site plan review, no old business, new business. That went through quick. 79 Good Hill Road, modification of previous Inland Wetland Commission. All right, so what's going on here, because we've had this one before.
Yeah.
Right, so
Okay.
so let me get some context for you guys for this one. I'm gonna pull it up here on the Google Drive and you guys can look on my screen. I'm trying to be good with not printing as much paper except only the pertinent stuff, which is why
This is the switch one, right?
that's correct. Well, it's a survey is what it is.
That's an A2 survey with additional field shots for a graded slope on the northern boundary.
You can just introduce yourself.
So
Tim Draper, 48 North Hattie Lane West.
No, it's on video, but.
let's get back to
Okay.
what was submitted for this application. So
Okay.
you have the survey that was just described by the applicant in front of you.
Mhm.
I'm going to be pulling up the application on the screen for everybody to see, and then I'll do the survey for those who aren't in attendance tonight. So 79 Good Hill Road, Tim Draper is your primary contact or applicant, and then Frank Conti, which is the abutting property to the north, which is on the top part of the paper. If you're looking at the survey facing you, what's being proposed for you guys is a modification of a previous approval in that there's the placement of fill material beyond an approved limit of disturbance. If I can read, shown on site plan for Oak Woods, 9 Good Hill Road. The feasible and prudent alternatives considered. There is a letter attached from Jim McManus, a soil scientist, which as of this afternoon, we,
I just got it.
okay, very good.
I have 4 copies.
Okay, and then see attached, something elevations from our New England Land Survey, which I'm assuming is the survey that's before you.
Correct.
See attached letter from property owner 7 and 9 Good Hill Road, Frank Conti, granting limited grading onto his property. And there's the signatures, and then there's the letter that was received from Frank Conti, essentially saying something to the effect of activity having taken place on his property, which seems to be indicated by that line that goes to the north of the property line there. No, where are you trying to point there, Kevin?
This one.
That's correct. Yeah, it's the dash line, that's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I'm gonna point it out on the Zoom screen for you guys. The context for this from a wetlands perspective is this was subject to a previous Inland Wetlands Commission approval for regulated activities, which included the buildings that you see on that survey, the parking lot, the driveway, which is used to service the property to 9 Good Hill Road, and the associated grading and other improvements. I can pull up the previous approved site plans for context as a comparison for what was approved before, so you guys can get an idea for what the specific area is that we're looking at. Let me just pull up the survey here real quick so that everybody can understand or be clear as to what we're talking about. So this notation here that says bottom of bank, this area that my cursor is currently encircling is part of what we're going to be what you're going to be looking at tonight for the application materials that we looked at. And like I said, you're going to be comparing it to the site plan. Let me pull it up here on my screen. And that was from, correct. Okay.
So Dave, should I mention that Nico just joined the meeting?
Yeah, Nico, let me know if you can hear and see us okay?
You're on mute.
Couldn't tell the boss.
I wonder if he knows that he's on mute.
Nico, do you know that you're on mute?
Okay.
Okay,
You can hear us.
he's joined twice, I'm not sure.
You can do that.
I don't know if you're trying to
Two different locations.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Sorry.
No,
There you go.
no worries.
You hear me?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Nico.
Your audio is fucked.
So be careful.
Excuse me.
Okay, so what you have up on the screen was one of the sheets from the approved site plans. The majority of what this site plan entails isn't party to what you guys are going to be looking at. In other words, the parking area, the buildings, the grading around the buildings where my cursor is going. That's not what is pertinent for this modification tonight. What you guys are going to be focusing on is the area that is being surrounded by my cursor here. What the approval was granted for was for grading to occur solely on 9 Good Hill Road. There is a clearing limit line, which is shown as the CLL, which is dashed, which was the approved limit of disturbance, which shows it going in close proximity, but not encroaching past the property line for 9 and 7 Good Hill Road. There was grading that was, the purpose of the grading there was so that the access driveway could be sloped down to meet the toe or to match the existing grade with a toe slope there at that limit line. And then a retaining wall, which is where my cursor runs here on the screen. So that's what is being asked of you tonight, is to modify what was approved here on these plans to what is shown on that survey. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have with what we've gotten.
I just have a
And so will I.
couple questions. Yep.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to do with that part, just so I get situated here. What does conveyor mean?
So the conveyances, they
And I know it has
are,
nothing to do
Well,
with.
there's only one conveyance and one land swap. Get it square.
right,
This has two
understood.
conveyances.
What I was going to say
Just what's
is
the definition?
the conveyances are not germane to this
No, understood.
modification.
Okay, I'll ask afterwards.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're not
problem.
part of what is being sought for tonight.
Okay, and I can't ask about the rain garden looking different shape wise?
The rain garden, the
Field
modification for that certainly if you guys want that to be included as part of what you guys review, the reason why that has been left out is because that regulated upland review area was already disturbed,
Okay,
and its alteration does not appear to have any direct or indirect impacts to any of the wetlands that are on the property. So
Yep.
really,
But I'll answer any of your questions afterwards.
that's fine.
No, that
I'll
way
look
you
up the
understand.
definition.
No, that way
Yep.
you understand.
Okay, so we're concerned with a retaining wall.
the grading that has occurred is what is being sought for as a modification
Okay,
and an alternative to that retaining wall being installed.
so just so I'm clear on process, we accept the application. Then we'll listen to it and make decision next meeting.
Well,
Yes.
so it's apparent that there's a soils report from the wetland scientist that the applicant has in hand for you
Okay.
guys to receive tonight. With that in mind, you guys can, that's at your discretion to accept. If you feel this is enough information to accept this application, that's at your discretion. If you
Okay.
have any additional information that you want to ask, tonight would be the night to do it.
All right,
So that way, when you guys render your decision, you have all the materials at your
Right.
disposal.
so we have to accept, just so I'm clear, accept the application, obtain the information, and then we need more information, ask for more information, and
If-
next meeting we'll discuss
That's-
all the information
If
we have.
if that's the process, that's your,
That's what we normally do.
right, that,
Okay,
Or you could discuss it all tonight too, why I'm here. Just I'm letting you know.
Okay.
Doesn't have to go to the next meeting. This is not.
I don't think we ever make a decision on the same day of the application.
your
That's where I'm going.
your precedent has been to have a distinct night for accepting an application, and then to open whatever review process you
Okay.
have, which I don't see why you wouldn't use a site plan review process for
Okay.
this. I don't think.
Because I tried before doing same meeting.
Right, a public hearing process
No,
shouldn't be
I,
necessary for
No.
this.
no, by any
But-
means, it's
But
my,
it has been your precedence to have those two events occur on different
Okay.
nights. There's no procedural requirements
okay,
that binds you to that, but that is your choice, and
but
that
we've
has
never
been
done
your,
it.
that's correct.
Why don't we get the information first, and so,
Yeah, I want to know exactly what we're
Right.
looking at in the all.
Yeah, because we do have a lot of new members that weren't around for
Right.
the
I'll
last
explain it.
process.
so let's, first thing is, I don't see why we wouldn't accept the application, so
Okay,
make a motion that we accept the modified is that correct term, not modified application?
you're making a motion to accept an inland wetlands application for a modification of a previous approval.
Mary, you get that?
I second that.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstain? Sorry, gotta remember, I gotta look at.
Yeah.
too. Sorry,
And you can seat Pat for Laura Ferguson if you so
Okay.
wish.
all right, I'm seating Pat for Laura Ferguson, so all the commission members are seated.
That's correct.
That's correct, okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so
You
why
ready?
don't you go for it? Yes.
Okay. We'll start with the reason we're here.
Okay,
We're gonna start with David's memorandum to me for a zoning compliance permit for Good Hill, because we're pretty much done.
okay,
And I'm just gonna read the highlight part of it, which is number 2 in a memorandum that he had sent me on June 16th. Modified wetland application. An application must be submitted to the Bethel Inland Wetlands Commission requesting an ex post facto modification to their resolution of approval dated July 29, 2020 for the observed placement of fill materials beyond an approved limit of disturbance as shown on the site plan set Oakwoods 9 Good Hill Road, Bethel, Connecticut, prepared by Michael Mizuko, PE, dated April 5th, 2019, last revised April 12th, 2021. Please provide authorization from the abutting property owner of 5 Good Hill, Frank Conti, to submit this application for any and all encroachments onto the property as a result of the placement of fill materials. So to start with, I have, and I'm not sure if you guys have it, but a letter, and I'm going to give it to the chairman, that David put up there from Mr. Conti.
Thank you.
That has absolutely no problem with the fill.
I date this? Is that correct?
Yeah, you
I
can
don't know.
sign that and
Sorry.
date
Just a
that for
copy.
tonight.
I have the
What's
original.
today's date? 27th.
All right, so Mr. Conti, right there, well, you know, I can have it back for a second.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna read what Mr. Conti said. June 11th, 2022, to whom it may concern. I, Frank V. Conti, grant limited grading on the northern property line boarding property owned by Oakwoods LLC. Signed Frank Conti and 6/11.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so he has absolutely no problem with the grading. We actually talked about it earlier in the process last fall. Okay. Let's see. Now, obviously, you guys have the map. You have a copy of it. And you can see where we had New England Land Survey go back out there, survey the toe of the hill, where it meets the vegetated part of the property, basically the wood line, because it wasn't vegetated. And we ended up regrading that slope, so it went right to the edge of the vegetation. We're not covering any more vegetation. We just brought the slope down to a 2-to-1 slope. So, and then I had Jim McManus from New England, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Well, I had Jim McManus in New England Land Survey, Jim McManus, soil scientist in New England Survey, do the survey to document the granted encroachment. Okay. And then this afternoon, I got Mr. McManus's letter, and I'm sure you guys all know Jim McManus. So I'll get one to everybody. I made 4. I was in a rush because I didn't get it to late tonight. Thanks, David, I don't think you get it, or the recording secretary. So I'm going to read this letter to you from Jim McManus, dated June 26, 2022. To myself, Tim Draper, Oakwoods LLC, 9 Good Hill Road, Bethel, Connecticut, regarding a site review, wet lawn along northern property line, 9 Good Hill Road, Bethel, Connecticut. Dear Mr. Draper, per your request, JMM Wetland Consulting Services conducted a site investigation along the northern property boundary on the above referenced parcel on June 17, 2022. The purpose of the investigation was to review an off-site forested wetland adjacent to the northern property line. Since the permit was granted, the property line has shifted to the north, which has resulted in minor additional grading along the slope adjacent to the aforementioned wetland resource. This additional grading has moved the slope approximately 6 to 8 foot closer to the wetland area than what was previous permitted. Hence the map from New England Land Survey. As you recall, this wetland area was reviewed and delineated by Mr. Eric Davidson of Davidson Environmental. Unfortunately, Eric wasn't available, that's why I called you. The disturbance off-site wetlands receives runoff from a set of catch basins within the Good Hill Road and discharges into the regulated area via an 18-inch RCP. Photos attached. Now, he didn't write this, but I'm writing it. The only water that goes through there is the water that comes off of Good Hill Road. Street road. So polluted water that goes into this wetlands that the town let happen, because I got all the background from Mr. Conti on this when Costa built that. So after careful, this is again back to the JMM wetlands. After careful review of the subject area, it is JMM's professional opinion that the revised grading along the northern slope to the regulated area will not have significant adverse short-term or long-term impacts upon the regulated resource. The functions and values that are provided by the regulated resource will continue to be offered at similar levels as under previously granted permit. Please call if you have any questions. Respectfully submitted, Jim McManus, certified professional soil scientist. And then there's some photos there. So you can see the RC,
Cement pipe.
yep.
Yep.
It's still there. That's an existing tree right next to it. All the rocks that are around that pipe were existing. The only thing that we did was retain around a little bit with the boulders more. The next picture, obviously, it says what it is. And then photo number 3 shows the grading down right to the edge of the vegetated area. And photo number 4 shows that the slope is stabilized. And as of
So-
right now, is growing grass.
So there was supposed to be a stone wall there.
Yeah, well,
and
we,
you did natural slope.
we graded it instead.
You
Yeah,
just
well,
graded it
well, there was
instead.
supposed to be a wall higher up on the driveway, which would give you the 2-to-1
It drops
slope. So I looked at the site plan, you know, in the field,
Right.
and that would put a wall right on the edge. David, can you go back to the original site plan?
Yes, I can.
But right on the edge of the driveway, which to me would create.
While you're driving in correctly with the
Correct.
dark line,
Yep.
correct? Is that your original retaining wall?
that heavy
that you
line?
proposed?
Yeah, you see the heavy line right there?
Got it.
So this heavy line,
Would have been the retaining wall.
which is only a 2-foot retaining wall. 24
Right.
inches. From here, here's the RCP pipe,
Right.
up here to over here. We're somewhere right about here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then it comes around and it does not go into the wetlands. It just encroaches closer to it, but does not, as Mr. McManus says, does not impede it, will not impede it in future.
Did
Yada,
our-
yada, yada.
There are soil scientists look at it?
No,
I mean, the direct implication is just water volume.
There's no more water going there.
Yeah.
We're not putting water, we're not taking water away.
Right.
The only part of this application is that we're 6 to 8 foot closer to the wetland, upland review.
Okay.
area.
All right.
Not the wet, not the wet, we're not in the wetlands, we're not 8 feet in the wetlands, we're in the upland review area, that's it.
I'm just, do we need our soil scientists to look at it?
that's at your discretion.
Yes?
What would
The only
you,
problem
Go ahead.
with it is, the work's been done.
Yeah.
Before
Mhm.
a permit was brought forth.
We didn't even know that I didn't know this until David said this might be an issue.
So that, I mean, that's my only problem. I mean, I have no problem looking at it and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
making a decision, but it's
Why
kind of
don't we
like
have
one
our
of
soil
those,
scientists just get his
do it
stamp
and
of
ask for
approval?
forgiveness
Yeah.
after.
Just
Yeah,
because it gets
I'm not even
closer.
gonna go there because I don't think it was, it's, we didn't have that.
Well,
that-
it's
we didn't
not
have
what
that
was
place
agreed
marked.
upon.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the-
agreed, that's why
Here's
we're
the way
here.
I'm looking at it, no matter the reason why or anything like that. Normal process for us to accept, and I've tried to approve same day and not been allowed to, so my thought is, get the information tonight. I don't see this being a long drawn out thing. Have our soil scientists take a look at it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a soil scientist, but I'm not expecting a red flag.
Well, see.
And then we'll make a decision next meeting.
so the soil scientist that you guys have worked with in the past from the Northwest Conservation District, her name is Cynthia Rabinowitz.
Okay.
Are you requesting her to do a third-party
Perfect.
review of the activities that have taken place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It seems reasonable.
I don't feel that it's an on-site type thing. I'm not an engineer. That's why I won't like them to look at it. That's all. And it's not gonna hold anything up, so.
Which I agree, I like Cynthia Rubin.
Right.
I think she does a wonderful job. But I would also ask that if they're gonna go out there and just look at this,
Mhm.
to report what kind of water is coming out of that from a town,
Okay.
a town RCP pipe that was put in there, that shouldn't have been put in.
That's fine. I mean, it's better to have that documented than not.
I
I understand.
Absolutely,
I'm fine.
and it's more than likely polluted water that's coming out of that pipe.
I got the
And
Worcester
I'm the
Street
first one
screen,
that's gonna
so-
say that. It's not on my property and it's not my water.
Is that pipe's
That's a
been,
town-
how long's the pipe been there?
I don't know. Probably 20 plus
So
years.
it was already taken into account the last time,
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
last application.
pre-existed.
Yeah, well, the previous application, Eric Davidson said, and Jim McManus said, because they were both out there, because Eric did it first, Jim came back, because then
But that
Pat was
shouldn't have
there.
anything
They're
to do
doing
with,
a whole,
yeah.
but it shouldn't have anything to do with
No.
what's going
Right.
on right
No.
now.
If,
So,
if you want there
Nope.
to be a review of the public works system, that is that catch basin, and wherever that pipe sources its water from, that is different.
yeah.
Yes.
Here's what I want. I wanna
What
let's
is
keep
being
this simple.
That should
I
be
don't think
separate
there's
from
any
this.
reason
That's
to
correct.
go
that
crazy
shouldn't,
with
shouldn't
this.
have anything to do with
Here's what we
That's
do.
with this
All I'm
application.
looking for is for her to take a look. She doesn't, unless, again, I'm not a scientist, she is. If she could take a look at it, she has to go out there, have her go out there. Otherwise, if she feels she can make the determination that this doesn't affect anything, by looking at it and stamping it, I'm fine with that.
Well,
As far as the quality of water coming out of there, I don't want to open that can of worms right now, quite honestly.
Right.
Because
That's fine.
then it
Well,
could
that's
become
not-
a whole different,
well, now the
Beast.
question
That's not
is,
us anyway.
is
That's
it,
not pertinent to this.
It
No.
isn't.
is it a wetlands or is it an intermittent water course?
what I'm not understanding your question.
Is it wetlands?
right?
Okay, it's delineated as wetlands.
So to answer that
Or
question,
is it
you're gonna
a
get held up
inter-
longer.
What's that?
Because my feeling, if that has to happen, then we're gonna have to have people
Yeah.
out there to determine if it's wetland. So again, I'm trying not to make this any further than it has to be. Let's just have a look at it. No concerns, we're good.
Okay, so do we want her to conduct an on-site investigation, or do we want her to just refer to what has been given document paperwork?
I mean, if she's
Just
comfortable, from my
what's in front
perspective,
of us, that's all.
Yeah, if she's
Okay.
comfortable with the
Yeah.
She
documentation,
can call the
it's fine by
wetlands,
me,
the
but if
soil
she feels
scientists,
concerned.
and pretty much get it taken care of.
Okay,
I'm a
That's fine.
taxpayer too.
No, absolutely.
I don't want to spend any more money than.
No,
that's made.
absolutely. Again, there's no reason to make it longer than,
I just got my
You know.
taxes.
Yeah. Won't go there.
okay.
so if she
When
can
would
take
you
a look.
guys like to have her findings brought to you by?
Well, I would like to get this.
October? No, I'm kidding, next meeting.
Yeah, next meeting.
Sorry, I had to say that.
Dude,
So,
You can do it
so,
next October, as far as I'm concerned. By that time, I'm done. I'm moving forward.
so your next meeting as of, or as per
Right.
your schedule that you
Yes.
made at the end of last year is
Okay.
July 25th.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, she could have it.
I'm okay
That
with that.
I don't know if it's possible to have it a week before or a couple days before. It doesn't
Sure.
matter.
Oh, yeah, just prior to the meeting, so that way we can review and
Just
approve.
give us a chance to look it
I don't see a
over.
major
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
Be
I
done.
don't think
So-
it's a long read either. I think it'll be a pretty quick
So,
turnover.
so would a week's time to have you read it, would that be enough, or would you want it sooner?
I mean, unless there's something explosive in there that we're not predicting, which I
Okay.
doubt.
The only
So,
thing I would
I
say
haven't
is
seen
if
it.
there's something that surprises us to give Mr. Draper's team time to address, but I don't foresee that happening.
okay, so I wanna make sure I have this clear. So I reach out to her, letting her know that you guys want to have her look at the documents you received for this
Yes.
modification
Yes.
tonight.
Yep.
She gives you a response in writing no later than July 18th.
Correct.
So you guys can
Yep.
review it at your next regular meeting on the
That is
25th.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
have a
If
decision
you
by
guys, like you were saying, if you guys need her to speak to Mr. McManus or Mr. Davison or whoever.
No,
Mr.
Jim
Dri-
McManus, because he was out there.
Okay.
That's fine.
You
Yeah.
guys authorize her
Yes,
to do
we
that?
do.
100%.
then. Absolutely.
Okay,
To work together. And, just if it's gonna have any more impact than the previous application.
Basically concurring with Jim McManus.
Exactly.
and that would be to discuss on the 25th.
That we are technically kind of an environmental committee, and every photo that we get, there's always trash in it.
Okay,
You know,
what,
not on my.
It's
property.
unavoidable. It's not you guys. Nobody's fault.
You know, how hard it
It's-
is trying to keep stuff clean.
That's
That's not
every-
even on my, that's in the woods. I don't
It has
give a
nothing to
shit
do with you
down
guys. It's just
Alright.
I go walking
Let's-
through Huntington. See it.
there. Mhm.
what other questions do we have?
I don't have any for this.
I think that's it. I mean, because we approved the project before.
That's,
And it's just to see if there's any changes that we, that's
okay.
it.
Let's reach out to cyberspace. Nico, Pat, Sal, do
Sorry.
you guys have any questions?
Hey, that's all right. Thanks. Pat?
Nico?
I do not, as long as you guys covered everything that was in the documents. I saw that DeMayo like called out a bunch of changes and stuff. Did you guys already go over that?
Right, so there are engineering items, some of which are germane to what is part of the regrading, some of
Right.
which are not. We can go through that more in detail
Go through it if
once
you want.
once Mr. Draper's engineer, Mike Mizuko, satisfies or addresses all of the comments that James has. I don't know if that's.
Which he has already,
Okay,
and I have the letter and I can read it if you want.
okay. You can just,
I'll just go with, if,
Go ahead.
what, for you guys, I'll just go with germane to any kind of wetlands type thing or rain garden or something like. 'Cause
Lawrence,
this might, this,
give me the copy of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys, what is the date on that?
let's see, June 23rd.
Okay,
Lawrence, we have a copy of it.
We can make you a copy of this whole thing.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, and so this was from to David McCollum from James DeMeo. I'm just gonna read it real quick. I'm just,
Yeah.
again, just germane of what's
Absolutely.
wetlands. You know, as you know, I was present at the site visit. It was conducted on 6/9/2022. The following comments were discussed with the property owner and their engineer, Mike Mizuko. Additional documentation needs to be submitted. Okay, so a couple of things. This would be, the project does not have curbs installed as per their plans. An attempt to maintain gutter flow to the designated stormwater addition, fill is to be placed in order to create a soil berm along the pavement. This berm will be stabilized with grass. This has been done.
Okay.
Along the northern side of the driveway across from the wetlands, this is what we were talking about, germane to this. The grading does not match the plans, which was a little bit more of a 1-to-1 than 2-to-1 slope. The plans are showing what appears to be a small retaining wall. There were no wall installed and the slopes appears to be closer to 1-and-1. The owner is planning on reducing the slope back to a 2-and-1 as proposed and stabilized, which has been done. You have the pictures. That's a 2-to-1 slope now,
Yep.
stabilized with seed and hay.
Yep.
There was a roof leader coming from the units 4 and 6, but it's not units 4 and 6. Needs to be extended further into the detention base and rain garden in order to prevent erosion. That was already taken care of. 6-foot piece of pipe. The rain garden needed to be seeded with an appropriate seed mixture. We do have salix in there, which is a willow, but we did put a conservation mix in there, so it is seeded now. And then that has nothing to do with that. And let's see, there are 2 manholes behind units 1 and 3 that were supposed to capture water from a swale in front of the stone wall on the western side of the property. I'm going to read Mike Mizuko's response to all these. And the overflow pipe from the rain garden, because there's an overflow from the rain garden, has changed. The 8-inch pipe enters a small catch basin where there is now 2-section perforated pipe to promote additional infiltration. The overflow from this additional system then discharges at the top of the slope. This can be an erosion concern. This is not shown on the as-built plan. It should be reevaluated, determine if regrading the slope would impact this. And that's all seed and hay. So this is Mike's response, Mike Mizuko, or my PCB for response to this. And it's to Beth Cavagna. The above referenced site was inspected by this office throughout the construction process to verify compliance with regard to site grading and drainage. The site grading and drainage has been completed in general conformance with the approved plans with minor modification to the embankment slope east of the driveway. There have been minor changes due to a land swap, which Pat asked about, and I can
That's fine.
go on
Yeah.
about it. with the adjoining property owner in addition to the land that was proposed to be granted to them during the approval process. The result was a less oddly shaped lot configuration for the adjoining landowner while allowing the developer to increase the size of the detention basin. The ballards that were proposed to preclude a vehicle from entering the detention basin were not installed because the spillway width was reduced and there are curbs on each side, which creates a sufficient barrier. Curbing was also not installed in all areas. Graded shoulders, which need to be adjusted slightly by raising the grade to ensure the driveway drainage stays along the gutter, were used to keep driveway runoff directed to the catch basin or leak off into the detention basin. Graded shoulders work satisfactory, especially in a driveway with a mild slope. I did inspect the galleries near the entrance and confirmed their installations. I also took photos. The piping network at the northwest corner of the site was not installed as most of the water was redirected to the detention basin behind the southerly building, thereby reducing the watershed area to the subject pipe. As noted, the basin was enlarged and is approximately twice the size. This is the rain garden. It's approximately twice the size of the original basin because of the land swap as previously noted. With the increased size of detention basin and the infiltration trench being placed prior to the overflow pipe being used, it will be very rare, if ever, that flow will exit the overflow pipe. A vegetated slope would have established itself over time, which it is seeded and hayed right now, and provide sufficient erosion protection in the event it was used. As a measure to alleviate concern over the overflow pipe, riprap could be installed from the outlet to the bottom of the filled slope. I have visited the site after several rainfall events to confirm the systems are operating as intended. I have also reviewed the final zoning location survey prepared by New England Land Survey, which will be submitted to your department by the developer, which it has. If you have any questions regarding, please do not hesitate to contact this office. Okay. Michael Mizuko.
Nice. Thank you.
So what I would say is you should consider receiving a letter from our Public Works engineer, James DeMeo, to confirm that everything that's in that letter that was just read sufficiently addresses his concerns.
So is that something that automatically gets done, or you have to request it right now?
Well,
I just want to make sure next meeting it's not requested.
James should be giving it
Right,
to David, or
right.
if not, it hasn't already.
right,
I talked to James on Friday myself,
Okay,
and he was just waiting for Mike to change
Okay.
just to address two things, which Mike.
so it's an automatic process,
right. So once I get that letter from James,
right?
if James hasn't already started working on it, you guys will have that ready for your July 25th meeting.
Okay. Can I just ask one thing and make sure I'm allowed to? Pictures of the slope that we're talking about?
Isn't
In
that
a
what
month.
these are?
Yeah,
Just-
vegetated.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm gonna see if a storm comes through,
Yeah.
you know, I expected, I had a little bit of grass on there, everything looked beautiful, but just in case, I wanna make sure there's no,
Well, the
River
driveway, everything is pitched.
Yeah.
David, can you bring up the site plan?
Yes.
You can tell that from here, actually,
Yeah.
just from this photo, you can see the pitch of the
Wait,
driveway
the-
going down to the.
Am I
wait,
bringing
I
up
just wanna
this-
make sure we have a
Yeah,
heavy
they-
storm,
yeah.
that we don't.
Yeah,
have
that
erosion.
what if we have a heavy storm while the seed is progressing and then it just washes away to begin with? I
Right,
had
then
that
we have
on
to
my way
replace
house
it.
in Torrington. Oof.
No, that we just
But
requested to fix it.
Yeah.
just blow it up, please.
Yeah.
I'm
Totally
sorry,
understand.
shrink it down. I said it backwards. Just so it shows the whole site. Okay, so this area right here was the property of 9 Good Hill Road.
Right,
I conveyed this to Mark Teague.
okay.
Okay.
Exchange for,
I think not in exchange for anything.
well, for the property that was.
No. Hear me out. So I was giving him this. This was part of the planning and zoning approval.
Okay,
Not that I asked that, this was a request. I gave it to
Right,
Teague.
okay.
It wasn't the planning and zoning making me give it to
Right,
Teague.
okay.
I just want to have that crystal clear, okay? So I'm doing this because a lot of his stuff is on here. His fence, his driveway,
Recall.
his play set, his shed,
Mhm.
right? I also paid for this wooden fence along the top of this hill right behind his house because his yard goes out and then it drops down. All back in here, okay, is all sumac trees, okay?
Yeah.
And it's very steep, okay? And that's my property, but it's level. So what we did, and then Mark there's a stone wall here, was cutting all his grass, his house. Matter of fact, this fence
Yep.
encroaches on my property,
Okay.
just so you know. Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. He was cutting all the way down to here. Mark's house is right here, is 20 foot off of this line on an angle. And it came across like this, okay? So to make it more like, we're not taking his yard, because I don't want it.
Right.
I said, Mark, and he was doing nothing down here because this all slopes down to a flat area.
Yeah.
I said, Mark, do you want to do an equal land swap
Okay.
with this piece of property? And I'll take it down here. That way I can enlarge the stormwater rain garden, detention, whatever you want to call it. So it looks nicer. And he was like, absolutely, because now I have a yard. So it was a mutual,
Okay.
and he's happy with it. And as a matter of fact,
That's it.
so that answers your question, you know? So the rain garden is probably twice the size of what it was.
Okay.
So we're capturing even more water, and it's a vegetated state with something called salix.
Yep.
Which again is a
At the willow.
willow. I thought I might have had his in here.
Okay.
I just want to. And I sent this to David on June 10th. This was just after the Mr. DeMayo, James and David and myself and Mike Mizuka were
Yep.
out there. And it's to whom it may concern. Unfortunately, Mr. Teague has a pretty tough mortgage company to deal with,
Okay.
trying to do the land swap.
Right.
So it's taken time. So, and this is something that Mark Teague signed as well as I did. And this was just something so that we agreed on it. I just want to read this to you,
Okay.
so you all understand what's going on and that I'm a good neighbor. Mr. Teague's mortgage complications for a land swap and conveying parcels is ongoing. See a letter from Morris Law Group, which I did send to David, concerning this ongoing matter, which will be addressed when his mortgage company issues the release, mutually agreed by both parties. I just mentioned about the fence. I have no issues with the encroachment on it.
Yep.
There was a question about spruce trees on the backside of, good, you got it.
Spruce fruit.
On the backside of the
Yep.
rain pond, but now the rain pond's bigger, it would be right into the hillside, didn't make any sense. So we put the trees on the other side.
Okay.
We didn't want spruce. And again, we agreed on it together. What kind of trees do you guys want, is what I said to him.
Right.
The whole idea was that we put a lot more trees on this property so people wouldn't see this as much.
Mhm.
Frank Conti wanted some pine trees, he got pine trees. Mr. Mark Teague wanted flowering trees, he got flowering trees. All right. Right there, Bradford pears were placed instead of evergreens along the driveway for better screening. And I already wrote that,
Yeah.
all mutually agreed to. There's actually 2 additional parking spaces
Okay.
on the property, which wasn't required. There's almost 50% more deciduous trees for screening that was shown on plan. And then the back part, it's actually changed because I did locate some pines. The earthen berm will be planted. The earthen berm has been planted
Okay.
with evergreens, which was on there. It was white pines, I believe. And that's all set. So that's
Okay.
done, just so you know.
Right.
So if you remember, this was a wetlands thing, why those pines went in there.
Yep.
Because when the tree frogs and the amphibians and all those things want to do their thing in the springtime,
Mm.
they didn't like the light. And
Yep.
one other thing was brought up about the lights on the back of the buildings. It's actually a building code where they have to be on a building. It's what they are.
That was the old plan, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but
Okay.
it was brought up, and I'm just bringing it back up to you since it was brought up to me.
That's safety.
And that's a
For safety.
building code that has to have
That's
a
good to know.
light on the back of a door. on an entry door,
That makes sense, though.
Oh, absolutely.
so.
That makes sense. That
Okay.
can't be
All
argued.
right, so.
Pat,
Next
Sal, any questions? Nope. Okay. Greg, any questions?
No, just,
I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay,
we'll have all our
You
stuff
guys yours
next
bleeding
meeting.
yet?
I'm good.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
So we
You-
continue this on the 25th of July.
With
Yes.
information requested,
That's
yes.
correct.
Okay,
All right,
That's it, right?
gentlemen.
thank you, Mr. Draper.
Thank you
Ma'am.
for the easement.
And everybody out in,
Cyberland.
Thanks a lot.
you have those, everything that I just read off too, so you don't need me to, you can give them a copy.
The only thing I didn't have was this.
You have
From, oh,
Yes.
you have it now though.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All
Okay.
right, sounds good.
Cool. Thank
Hey,
you,
have a
sir.
good evening,
Awesome.
guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Okay, make a motion to accept Inland Wetland Commission special meeting minutes from 5/9/2022.
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstaining? Motion carries. Am I doing this correct?
Yes,
You
you
give
are.
me the look like, yeah, I screwed up again.
No, you're doing it right.
Okay.
I'm making sure everyone who's voting was in fact there for that
Okay.
special meeting on the 9th.
Okay. Invoice, Danbury News Time, legal notice, $709. What legal notice was that? Or combined?
It's a myriad of legal notices. You guys
Okay.
had 7 approvals.
Right.
Over the first 5 months, and I believe this legal notice accounts for the last 3.
Okay, that's fine. Make a make a motion to approve the invoice in the amount of $709.58. And to pay that.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? Against? Motion carries. Staff comments and reports.
None.
Like this.
No,
Actually,
this is quick.
No, you said none. You can't
no,
change.
I'm sorry.
Don't take that.
Oh. The backsies.
So close.
I do have one.
Okay.
It is for, let me bring this up on my screen. I promise I'll be quick.
It's fine, Dave. It's only.
It hasn't even been an hour. I've been here till 11 o'clock before.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't apologize.
Mary's going, no, be quick. I want to go home.
Okay.
How's Bethel, you guys? I'm up in Vermont right now.
I was gonna say, you don't look like you're in Bethel there,
Wait,
Dave.
we're in Vermont.
Wanna
No, I got my luau shower. I'm up in Stowe at the moment. I was in
Ooh,
I was in Hubbardton all last week.
It's
Nice.
beautiful up there. I spent a lot of time
Hubbardton,
in the
West.
area.
I go up there in the summer. I don't go in the winter. No way.
I love snowboarding up there.
Yeah, dude. There's so many cool waterfalls and everything around here. It's really nice. It's been good.
So
I'll be-
anyway,
I'll be back down tomorrow.
to get us back to reality, I'm sorry, it sounds like a blast, Nico, but there is a planning and zoning, there's a zoning permit application that has been submitted to the land use department for 50 Taylor Avenue. It is the property whose bounds are highlighted in red up on the screen. It is before staff for 2 additions to an existing single-family dwelling whose structure is where my cursor is on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Okay.
As part of the work to construct these 2 additions, part or the entirety of an existing septic system has to be replaced. And as part of that, an existing pipe that carries water from a water course, which is this blue line here. The inlet for the pipe is here, and the outlet for the pipe is here. It goes into a wetlands area that and the water course here and the wetland system here were both flagged by a soil scientist. This section of pipe that connects the two has to be replaced.
Okay. That makes sense.
With consideration to the majority of this area having already been disturbed, and the elements that have to be altered within the space, is this something that you guys would have confidence in my abilities to review administratively?
Yeah.
Or would
You're fine.
would you rather have an application submitted to you guys? Because it wouldn't just be for,
I'm comfortable with you doing it and as an internal approval
okay,
or review.
okay.
I agree with that. It's not like they're making modifications to anything different. It's just,
Who owns the pipe?
yeah,
So
that's a good question.
So the pipe, I'm not sure, there's no language or anything in the clerk's office that would indicate that there's any sort of drainage easement for it. I haven't found any on any surveys that were given to me, so for all intents and purposes, the property owners own that section of pipe. And it is
Okay.
their responsibility to do any and all maintenance on it or improvements to make sure that whatever the function they're looking for still performs it. So yes, to get back to what I was saying, the pipe is one element. They're gonna have to regrade to install a septic system.
Okay.
The new additions, whose square footage would get almost to 1,000 square feet. So that would be 1,500 square foot house roughly when all said and done. They would have to do or modify parts of a roof drain system to accommodate those new additions. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. The hope is for a low impact development design elements, I mean like a rain garden or a spreader of some kind, something that will allow water to infiltrate back into the ground in a way that's as natural as possible, not like a cold tech or
Okay.
something,
Yeah.
not like an engineered system, if you will. So I just want to make sure that
Fine. Nino and Pat, are you good with Dave doing it as an internal approval?
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Good.
Okay.
Consent.
Need a motion on that?
No, I wouldn't. What I will do when the approval's all said and done, I will bring it back before you guys again in case there has been any more activity that's taken place or if the applicant indicates that anything else has to take place. If there is, I'll ask for you guys,
That's fine.
your guys is okay again,
Mhm.
just because this is substantial for an agent approval application, and I just want to make sure I'm not going outside of my
Not at all, Dave.
bounds as your agent to review
You're
something.
good.
Okay,
Okay,
that's all I've got.
commission comments? Anyone have on the web world have, you're good? Craig? Kevin?
I'm okay. I'm good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I heard, I don't know if it's correct, there is a report that is published every year by Bethel or required by the state on how Bethel maintains their waterways.
It is, I think that is part of what you're referring to as the MS4.
Okay,
Okay, so those are, it's a new program that has been spearheaded by the state over the past couple of years, which we've been in compliance with ever since it started. It's essentially us monitoring our systems that relates to water that comes from roadways.
Yep.
Or that discharge through systems that are owned by the town.
and how it's maintained.
Correct.
Would it be possible to start getting a copy of that, seeing how
That'd be cool
we're
to see.
wetland, we have water courses? I would like to actually start seeing that. 'Cause
Yeah,
we get a lot of comments like we did tonight over, snide remarks where what the town's doing, not doing, and not that we want to address it that way, but I would like to kind of see.
Absolutely,
even that falls
understood.
in our
That is a request I
Right.
can make to the Public Works Department.
Okay.
Now that we have an engineer on staff,
Yep.
I don't know if Jim DeMayo was brought on
Right.
board as of your
Right.
last meeting.
Yep.
I can definitely make that request.
Cool.
I'm not sure what format those reports come in, but whatever format would be palatable for you guys.
I just like to
look
have it
at.
on file when someone comes, and quite honestly, I've been in a lot of conversations because of a certain pipe
Mhm.
that I would rather be able to say, the report, go look at the report and not be in the conversation.
Understood.
So,
Also, whoever's raising such inquiries, they can ask the Public Works Department, because they're the ones,
it's been.
that's the body that goes to maintain
Yeah.
that structure.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, you
understood.
know, yep, okay. Make a motion to close,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you must.
If we must,
We must.
Okay,
motion
Enjoy
carries.
Vermont, Nico.